So today we're making one of our family's old favorites, Mom's Basic homemade graham wafer pie. And it's a favorite of everybody's. Whenever we have a Kovats get together, you can count on one of my sisters or brothers or something bringing a graham wafer pie for dessert. It's a favorite, there's no question about that. And it's pretty simple to make. It's pretty rich, it's pretty fast. We're going to do this fairly quickly this morning. We take the graham crackers. Now you can buy crushed crackers. This morning we crushed our own. You don't want them too fine, so don't put them in a blender or anything like that. And this is a 9-inch pie plate, and you just put in about a tablespoon and a half of sugar. If you got a real sweet tooth, you can use as much as a quarter of a cup. My mother used to do it with a quarter of a cup, but we find it just a little rich, so we don't do that. You melt your butter, and I mix it right in the pie plate, and away we go. So I'm not going to show you the whole process here, but I'll show you when we get it mixed up what we do with after that. So we've got the graham wafers and sugar and butter combined, and then take a couple forkfuls of the topping and just set it aside in a fruit nappy or something like that, because we're just going to put that on at the end when we bake it. Now this pie shell gets baked for 8 to 10 minutes, so while you're making up the shell or mixing up the ingredients, preheat your oven to 350, and it bakes for 8 to 10 minutes. I tend to be a little on the longer side, because if you don't bake it enough, you won't end up with a nice shell that stays together. And we never had the pre-done graham wafer crumbs when I was a kid or when I was growing up, or they didn't. My mother wouldn't spend the money because we didn't grow up with any money. There were 6 of us, and she used to make 2 of these at a time, so we crushed them. So we just put these in like a freezer bag and put the roller to them just a bit, and we use a spoon to get it nice and smooth and even around the edges, and just bring it up to the top of the lip, because you're going to want to seal your filling. And oops, that keeps sliding over. And this is all about flavor. This doesn't show, but try and get it up to the edges. And I'm going to pop that in the oven and then start on the filling. Now the filling is pretty simple. We just take a medium saucepan. You don't need a double boiler or any of that stuff. We do the old famous put the star on the burner, and put the burner about halfway, just a little to the warmer side of halfway, because this can tend to stick. And we do 3 cups of milk, if I'm not mistaken here. Let me take a look. Yeah, 3 cups of milk. And away we go with that. And to that we add, now I better get my French whisk here, which I didn't get out earlier. There's my whisk. We just add half a cup of flour. We add a cup of sugar. And we add half a tablespoon, or not tablespoon, you wouldn't be able to eat the stuff, half a teaspoon of cornstarch. And it doesn't matter if you put a little bit of extra in, because that's going to thicken the filling, and it is a delicious filling. The whole recipe is written out and it'll show on the screen at the end anyway. And just mix this up and start stirring it, and then set it on the burner. I'm setting it on the burner. You can't see it, but it's there. And then while that's going on, we're going to break some eggs. Now the thing is with the eggs, we separate the whites from the yolks, and we do this relatively carefully. My wife likes to use an egg separator. I never grew up with any of that kind of stuff, so I don't know about any of that. And you want to make sure you don't break a yolk and get it in the whites, because then you won't be able to whip it up. So there's one. So we always do it one at a time, and we're going to set the yolks aside because they go in the filling, and then we put all this in the fridge, the yolks or the whites in the fridge in a mixing bowl to get a chill on it. Whoops, I almost put it in the wrong thing. To get a chill on it while this is cooking. So we're just going to give this another little bit of a stir and be patient. Okay. So there's our third egg. Now the crust is cooking. It's baking while we're doing this. And at about the 6-minute point, I'm going to turn it. And we'll get rid of these shells for now. Put that in there. And we turn it 180 degrees. Okay, there's the egg whites. They're going in the fridge. And we're going to give this a little bit of a stir here. So I'm just going to bring this over. You can see it's just in here, and all we do is we just keep stirring it, and I'll restart this thing as it starts to come to a boil. We slowly bring it to a boil. Maybe it takes about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. We got to be patient because you don't want it to burn or stick. Okay, there's the pie shell. That's about 10 minutes. I started it off at 350, but it should have been 375. And I've turned it a couple times. I turned the temperature up to 375, 380, and left it in a little bit longer, but it's got a little bit of browning around the edges. So we set that aside to just cool off, set it on a burner. This is the filling. It's starting to thicken, just to show you that there. And we've been stirring it vigorously on medium heat. It's just starting to thicken. So once it's thickened, then we add the egg yolks. So we start getting the egg yolks ready. I'm stirring with my left hand. And I just mix the egg yolks up just a bit. And then this is something that we do is we add the hot sauce into the egg yolks just to take the temperature off of them. I'll try not to make too much of a mess. And what that does is that makes sure that the egg yolks will not cook or curdle or whatever term you want to use. It just makes a heck of a mess if you don't do this. And so I'm stirring the mixture with my left hand, and I'm starting to work my egg yolks with my right. I can start seeing some steam starting to come off of the mixture. So this is going to be another couple minutes before it starts to boil. When it starts to boil, it really just kind of bubbles and burps a bit and stuff like that. It doesn't come to a big boil. And once it starts to boil, we cook it for about, we add the egg yolks into it and then cook it for about 2 minutes. Okay, the mixture has just started to come to a boil. So now I'm adding the egg yolk mix to the mixture. Get that all in there. You can leave it on the burner while you're doing this. I've just taken it off so we can catch this in the camera. But I do that, and now I'm going to put it back on the burner. And you just mix that in nicely. It gets a nice light yellow color to it. The key is to keep this mixing, and then we're going to cook it for about 2 minutes. Okay, the filling has cooked for 2 minutes. You can leave it on the burner. Just turn your heat off, and then I just got this off here again because now we got to move relatively fast. We take a teaspoon of vanilla, and we slowly mix that into the mixture. And we've got to start working pretty fast now because this filling wants to cool off. And as it starts to cool, it's going to thicken, and it doesn't have to cool much before it thickens. So use your whip and make sure you've got the vanilla mixed in nice so there's no vanilla showing. And then give that a little shake. Now we take our pie shell that's been cooling. We bring that here, take a spatula, and then pour into the center, and pour slowly. You probably have a little bit left over for a fruit nappy. It's nice filling. At least enough, keep enough for a tablespoon or two to snack on. But you can see how it's thickening up there. And pour it to the center and let it work itself to the edges. That's as full as I'm putting this one. So I'm going to put this to the side, and I'm going to get a fruit nappy here. And then what you do is let this whole thing cool for about a half an hour because you've got to mix your meringue, and you want to put the meringue on a relatively cool. You can see from there was a little bit of sticking at one part of the pan, but not much. But you want it to cool off enough so when you put the meringue on it, it settles or it doesn't melt the meringue. Okay, so I have mixed up the meringue. I'm not going to show you how to mix meringue because you probably know how to do it. We use a little bit of sugar with the egg white and cream of tartar to get it good and stiff, and we get it so it's a nice, pretty firm peaks. And the secret with this is to lay it along the outside edge a little bit at a time to seal the edge. Whoops. And if you seal the edge, keep it off the pie plate. Don't worry if you get a few graham crackers mixed in there. You'll end up with one really nice pie. This is a very rich pie. It's really tasty. It's awfully hard to make a mistake. Like I say, it's been a family favorite for, well, since I was a kid. I was known to, when I was in high school, I don't want to say how many years ago that was, if I got out early, I'd go home at 2 or 2:30, and it's no family secret that I'd make the odd one up and eat it before anybody got home. I eat the whole pie. It's a wonder I didn't put myself in the hospital, but that's how much I like them. And we don't have them too often because they're pretty rich, but we have them when we're having company. So now that we've done the edges, or we have them when we're having family over because the family just loves it. Everybody gets a big smile on their face in our family when they see a graham wafer pie. I guess probably because it brings back a lot of fond memories. Okay, now I add it to the middle, like this. Meanwhile, the oven is preheating to 350. We put this in like this, and we just fill it up, work to the middle. Like that. And there's no rule that says you gotta make it, you gotta use all the meringue that you had. So, there. Now, once you get that on, this to get some nice peaks, then I turn it, and you're going to bake it for about 8 minutes on 350. The oven is preheating to 350. The key here, what I'm doing is I'm just touching it very lightly just to get some little peaks up. Doesn't make any difference the way it tastes, but I always find things that look good taste better. Alright, so that's that. Now what we do is we take these graham wafer crumbs that we set aside when we were making the crust, and we just put it on like that. Put it around like that. And we're going to pop it in the oven. Now, about 8 minutes will do the trick. You got to watch it because the meringue can burn pretty quickly. So at about 4 or 5 minutes, I give it a half of a turn, and then about every minute I keep giving it turns and turns just to get a nice golden crunch. So I'm just going to pop this thing in the oven. And set the timer. So this is homemade graham wafer pie. It tastes even better than it looks. It's a good looking dessert. It's a great dessert. It's just fabulous. You can serve it at room temperature. It goes nice if you put it in the fridge and get a little chill on it. I guarantee your family will be happy, your guests will be happy, and it's something that'll be a keeper for you. And like it says on this old tattered piece of paper, Mom Kovat's famous graham wafer pie, don't ever throw this away. So, now we've got it posted and it's up to share, and we hope you enjoy it.